This is the Weigh-In Podcast by Ben Watt Chestnut. And on this week's Weigh-In, we have for you Zuffa Boxing reaches exclusive media rights deal with Paramount. So, Zuffa Boxing, what is that? That is Sturkey and Dana White and Dana's boxing platform with the TKO group. So it's going to operate under the name Zuffa Boxing, which is absolutely amazing to see that now they're going to be over there too. So will we probably get something similar where it will be the same type of media deal going on where, as far as we're concerned, where you won't have to do pay-per-view. But we'll get into all of that and whatever else comes up during the time of recording. But yet again, that is this week's weigh-in. So if we jump right into this buffer, and and we're definitely going to come up with some more stuff. A lot of news over there. So buffer, I think that's a great thing. So there's interesting points with this, with doing this with Paramount. Are we going to start seeing the loss of pay-per-view? So now if we're going to have their boxing and UFC on Paramount, it's going to bridge a gap where I think Paramount's going to get a lot more people going for wanting Paramount. And I think that's a good thing. I think that makes it interesting point, which is really good. I think those things are really good for the terms of what goes on. I think it is. And I think that for multiple reasons because of how it goes. And just in boxing in general, there's just a lot going on, But I do like the Paramount deal for Zuffa Boxing, which is really good. I like it. So in other boxing news, Moses Tuma. I'll apologize in advance for the butchering of the last name, but Moses rejected the IBF final eliminator that would have earned a fight against Alexander Usyk. So, how I feel about that is very simple. I know we said whatever else comes up at the time of recording. And I really wanted to mention that. I kind of think that there's a lot of guys like that are gonna run because they know they can't beat Usyk. They know they can't beat Usyk. So if we pull up just real quick some more on this Zuffa. So Zuffa is just streaming 12 events on Paramount Plus in 2026 as part of a long-term contract media rights deal. So we're going to at least see 12 fights. I hope, and the way they've been scheduling that they was able to make Canelo Crawford. They've been scheduling some good stuff. Zuffa Boxing. So this Dana White shindig, it's going to be, those are probably going to be some really good 12 fights, which is amazing to see. Really good 12 fights. So excited for that one. What's going to be going on there. And if we bounce around, Tyson Fury and his wife, Paris, have reacted to the news as 16-year-old daughter gets engaged to a boxer. Huh. Let's see if we can figure out what he said. They're proud. They're proud. The way they lined that report up, they made it seem like some shade was about to go on. They made it seem like some shade was about to go down. But nonetheless, I think that Zuffa Boxing, if we're back on Zuffa Boxing did a really good thing. I think this is going to be fairly interesting to what's going to go on with Zuffa, but I think that's going to be great. Excited. In terms of Moses not really wanting to take the final eliminator, I think at this point, I think the question we have to ask ourselves is, do you want the belts? Because if you don't want it, you don't want it. And I think that that's an interesting thing to get going. I think, as we get closer to Jake Paul Tank Davis. So there's a little on the Tank Davis side. Tank talked about it possibly being his last fight, but once again, like I say, Google it. But Tank always says that, and I think that this is just what's said. And it'll be interesting to when we see Canelo fight again, if we see that. So there's just a lot going on in terms of that looks really interesting. So that's our little boxing, although we really kind of told it right there. We'll get our UFC news ready to go. And so they got Pereira who's going to be fighting again. So let's we got that coming, and he can fight. So that'll be UFC 320. So that'll be UFC 320. So let me get you some info on UFC 320. You can figure out what info we need for that. Let's see what I can get you on that UFC 320, which should be really good. See what we can get off that UFC 320. So, Muhammad Ankalaev. So we'll say Muhammad because I know I can get the first name right and the last name I butcher it all the time. But we got Muhammad versus Alex Pereira. That's going to be on. So let's break down this card real quick. We got Joe Pyfer. Listen, I think if many of you know, Joe Pyfer's early MMA days was pretty good. So I like Joe Pyfer. But let's break this down for you. So here's the breakdown I got for you. They got Dankavel versus Corey Sen Senhengen, but Corey, the bantamweight co-main. You know, I've seen the champion fight. You know, once, twice. I don't think Corey's gonna win that. I think champion's gonna keep his belt for the bantamweight co-main. In the light heavyweight, I don't really know the two guys, so I can't break much down. But you know, one guy's got a lot of experience, and Khalid's only had about, in terms of wins, 14 wins. His opponents had 31 wins. So I think the odds are going to be stacked against him, but anything can happen. We know that anything can happen. So in the Josh Emmett versus Youssef, Emmett's got the experience, but I haven't really seen both of them fight. You know, but I definitely got Joe Pyfer. I've seen Joe Pyfer fight multiple times. I got Joe Pyfer. So this is going to be an interesting because do I think Pereira can win this fight? I don't think so. I don't have Pereira. I got Muhammad because Muhammad's realistically only got one loss, one draw, and that's 21 wins and one loss. You're doing something right, and I think that's terms of that. You're doing something right. You're doing something correct, and I think that's a good way to go, man. He'll be at that T-Mobile Arena in Nevada, which is crazy. But I definitely have Muhammad on that because it. What a lot of us don't understand, and I don't say me because I understand it very well. It's not easy to only have one loss. It's not, and the game of MMA and boxing is not easy. You know, a lot of people think, well, it's fairly easy. It's not. It's really not. It's really not. It's really not easy. It's not. So it's really not. It's not something easy, but it's something where I kind of say, hey, this will be good. So we got 320. Then we got UFC Fight Night Charles Oliveira versus Gurmarat. What it says here on the Google. Got it pulled up for you. It's on the Google. We got Davison Figueiredo. Oh, Davison Figueiredo's on that card too. All right. So we got Davison Figueiredo on that card along with Charles Oliveira. Ooh. See if there's anybody else here that might. He was supposed to face Rafael Fizz, Fizz, Fitz, Fizz, Fitz, and now he's got a new opponent. But woo, prelims. Let's see on the pre's. Um, no, nobody I know on the prelims. Let's see what's going on here on the UFC 320 prelims, early prelims. No, not really much going on that, but back to Charles Oliveira, man. I think Charles Oliveira's 35, his opponent's 34. They both have the same height. Charles Oliveira's got the reach though. That's gonna be interesting. He's got the reach. And if he's got the reach, I think that makes a difference in some cases. Now we also got fight night. So Charles Oliveira's Saturday, October 11th. Excited for that. Then we got Saturday, October 18th. Renier D. Ryder versus Brendan Allen. Now that's gonna be good. And then you got Kevin Holland as the co-main. Woo! All right. All right. So, and then you also got Malo Vernon, Chito Vera on that card too as a bantamweight. October 18th. We got some UFC. Then there's 321, which is Tom Aspinall and Gaines. Let's see what most of us want to know. When's our boy coming back? So we're wondering. So we may see John Jones at the White House event in 2026. Look, hey, we want to, yeah, I got some updates for you. I got some updates. Got some updates. Got some updates for you. And that's when we can expect to see some more John Jones. Now, see, if it's me, it'd be Tom Aspinall and John Jones at the White House. I'm sorry, but that would be the best schedule for me. I would love to see that. You stack up the card. Um, you know, so that's fairly well. That's a good thing. So that's a really good thing. So I think there's some great things to come out of a lot of it. A lot of great things coming our way through UFC, boxing. That should look really interesting. I'm going to be pretty excited for all of that, for how that'll do some really great things. That'll take a really great turn. Um, that's going to be interesting. In no in every way, shape, or form, it's going to be a huge, interesting thing going, and I like that. So to cap that way in, man, it's just gonna be good. I think in terms of 2026, the game of boxing is gonna grow, and UFC because first of all, Zuffa boxing, this Paramount deal is gonna be real interesting to see how this works out. But if it does work itself how I think it is, in terms of eliminating pay-per-view prices, that's gonna be really good. They do like the Netflix, because Netflix is like you buy Netflix and then you can see the fight. If they do like the Netflix type thing, type ordeal, I think that's game changing. I think that's why you're starting to see some more fights hit that Netflix. Amidst us getting Jake Paul, Tank Davis on Netflix, so we got a lot of Netflix that we gonna like right now. A lot of that Netflix. So that's gonna be interesting in terms of just everything. That's gonna be real interesting. Um, the good on Netflix, because I'm gonna like that one, and that's gonna be good. That's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be real amazing. And I think that's a good thing. And I think that because there's a lot of good things that can come from this, and with all the good things that can come, I think it's gonna be really, really, really amazing in terms of everything. And I think that's really good. I think, in terms of all of that and what's going on and what isn't, it's gonna be some really good stuff. So I like it. I think we're gonna be in good hands here and moving forward with this UFC Paramount deal and with Zuffer Boxing also doing the same deal. You know, that's great things, really great things. That's really great things going on. Really good. That's a really good thing. That's a really, really good thing that I like about what goes on. And that's a really good thing that I like about it is that, this deal is gonna make really good things better. and it's going to be boxing. It's going to give it an edge, that they're going to be able to have all those fights on Amazon Prime and all of that. That's going to be really, really good. And I like it. I like all that's going to be going on and all of that that's going to take place and reshape and all that might go on for this. I like it. I like it. I like it fully. I like it 100%, for what's going on. I think all of what they're going to be doing is amazing stuff. I mean, I kind of see it like this. How can you not see those dealings as to be really good? That's what I see. That's just the way I look at it. I'm like, how can you not? How can you not? How can you not see that as a really good dealing and all of that? And that's just one thing that I look at. That like specifically, it's like, yeah, how do you not see that as a good ordeal here? But other than that, I think there's fairly good stuff. Really good stuff all the way around is the way I look at it. That's the way I look at it all the way around. I kind of say like, hey, this is good stuff. That's better stuff. That's all that it pans itself out to be, you know, when it comes to that good stuff. It's kind of like, hey, better, better thing for all of that. So I think that's really good. But in terms of it, there's a lot of really good things for UFC that has done really well. And I think that for multiple reasons, but there's really great reasons for why that is very well, and I think that's good. That's good in terms of most of what happens. I think there's no wrong or bad way to look at it. And I just think that there's really great things that have gone back and forth between the UFC, between just really good scheduling. This year I felt like we got a lot of good fights we wanted. Into next year's moving over to Paramount, I think in terms of it they've been doing good things, and I think it's going to be a good look in 2026 for the UFC. I do. I do believe that. And then Zuffa boxing, right off, we get Canelo Crawford because that looks good. Yeah, that looks really good. So I think that's going to be a fairly interesting thing moving forward. But nonetheless, a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff coming from the UFC. A lot of good stuff all the way around. I think those are great things to partake in. That there's been really good stuff between the UFC, between boxing. Dana White has not been doing bad things. He has not been um, too bad on his scheduling, which is really good. In terms of it, I think that's really good. But the question is, will it continue to be that good? Because if it's not going to continue to be that good and stay on the path it needs to, then then we're done for. Like I say, we're done forth. And that's why I kind of say that, it's going to be fairly interesting. But with that being said, we're in the end. That this was a little epi, not more of our bigger, stronger epis, just to get on here and update you on what there's some of that stuff. As we're getting closer to good stuff, closer to obviously we'll continue to watch the developments of Jake Paul, Tank Davis. We're getting closer to wrestling season, so just know that just if you feel the content isn't strong right now, understand that when the seasons hit and it's peak, as we call it, for the weigh-in, when it's peak weigh-in, where we're gonna have a lot of stuff. It's all gonna be quick. So that's just a disclaimer and a warning up on this time. But amidst all of that, like, comment, subscribe, share, and this is yet another epi of the weigh-in. So this is the weigh-in by Benoit Chestnut and the occasional pop-in Sebastian Romero. Weigh-in out.